Operation Epic Fury.
Breaking news right now, the federal government just issued an emergency alert to law enforcement agencies all across America. Iranian sleeper cells may have just been activated on American soil. This is not a drill. Encrypted transmissions intercepted by U.S. intelligence, believed to originate directly from Tehran, were sent out immediately after we took out Iran's supreme leader. The message? Possibly operational orders to convert to covert assets already embedded inside the United States. So the question is, are we about to see Iranian retaliation right here in our own neighborhoods? That's the question. What the Trump administration knows and what they're doing about it will absolutely shock you. And I'm going to tell you why this matters to you and your family right now, because under Joe Biden's catastrophic open border policies, over 10 million people crossed into this country. We have no idea who millions of them are. Tom Homan just revealed the terrifying numbers. Under Biden, over 1,200, let me repeat that, 1,200 Iranian nationals were released into the United States. Under Trump's first term, 0. Not one Iranian passport. Prayer mats were found ditched south of the border. Think about that. Enemy operatives potentially walked right into your community while the previous administration just looked the other way. And now those sleeper cells may have just received their marching orders. This is not some foreign conflict happening overseas. This could be happening in your city, in your neighborhood. It could be happening right now. The FBI, though, already investigating. The Austin terrorist attack is a possible act of terrorism after the Senegalese shooter was found wearing clothing with the Iranian flag. The threat has arrived. The question is, are we prepared to face it? I mean, look what just happened in New York City. You have car bombs. You have Gracie Mansion. You have all these things all unfolding, and national security is a real threat. But there's one thing the establishment's ignoring. Another vulnerability they do not want you thinking about. For months, we've been tracking this developing story directly from Washington. Legacy media, complete blackout on this. You know, Iran's being destabilized. The Middle East is up in flames, and the federal government just made a move that could reshape America's security posture. Now, the truth is this. Our nuclear subs, warheads, next-gen power grid, it all depends on uranium. We import almost every single pound of it. It's not about energy independence. It's about survival, my friends, because a nation that can't power its own military, it just doesn't stay a superpower for long. No military, no power, no energy, you're done. And that is why smart investors are watching Atomic Minerals, trading as ATMMF in the United States, ATOM in Canada. Write those tickers down, pause the video, make sure you make note of it. Because while Washington scrambles to secure domestic uranium, this company is positioning itself at the center of America's energy future. Do your own research, okay? There is a full briefing that's been prepared exclusively for Next News viewers. It's linked down below. Do not ignore what is happening right now. Let's get back to the Iranian threat that's unfolding here at home, because this is what the mainstream media will not tell you about this crisis. Well, Democrats in Congress are playing political games, refusing to fund the Department of Homeland Security during an actual national security emergency. The Secretary of War, Pete Hegseth, just sent a clear message to our enemies. When asked about Iranian sleeper cells being activated in America, his response was direct. It was confident. He said, quote, "We're ready for that, and that's the difference between the Trump administration and the chaos of the Biden years." You see, we now have leaders who take threats seriously and prepare accordingly, but the evidence of what is already here is absolutely chilling. Look at your screen. New U.S. intercepts encrypted communications believed to have originated in Iran may serve as an operational trigger for sleeper assets outside the country. ABC News, this sets the stage. Tom Homan has specific intel on this and how we got here in the first place. Iran may be activating sleeper cells outside the country. From outside the country, alert says. Let's take a look here. This is obviously after Khomeini's passing. We're going to get to Homan's warning, terrifying in reality. Listen.
Can you assess that issue particularly? How many Iranians are in the country that are in sleeper cells trying to do bad to America right now?
Well, look, you and I have talked about this many times. I said the last 4 years, my biggest concern was this open border was the biggest national security vulnerability this country's ever seen. So I pulled numbers this morning just from a CBP under Joe Biden. There was 1,272 nationals of Iran released in the country between OFO and the Border Patrol. And you compare that to the Trump administration, zero. Right, zero releases. And right now, because of President Trump's leadership, we have the most secure border in my lifetime, most secure border in the history of this nation. So we have a secure border. That was President Trump's big win on securing this nation. So we're not releasing people in this country. Special interest aliens aren't crossing that border undetected. But under Joe Biden, we had over 10 million people cross that border. But my biggest concern from day one, beyond the fentanyl, beyond the sex trafficking women and children, were the 2 million known gotaways. Over 2 million people crossed that border. We don't know who they are, where they came from, because they got away, because Border Patrol is so overwhelmed with the humanitarian crisis that Biden created that over 2 million people crossed the border and got away. That is my biggest concern, and that's what created the biggest national security vulnerability this country's ever seen.
And you have that on surveillance, seeing people get away. Do you have a sense of where they went?
No, the intelligence community under President Trump has been on this since day one. What gives me any comfort at all is that you don't have Christopher Wray there, you got Kash Patel there. You don't have Alejandro Mayorkas there anymore, you got Kristi Noem, and you certainly don't have Kamala Harris as a border czar. So President Trump brought a great team, been on this since day one. Do we know where every one of the 2 million are? No. We don't know who they all are. We don't know why they're here, where they came from. But we do know Border Patrol intelligence for the last 4 years, they found prayer mats south of the border. They found identification from people from Iran, Turkey, Uzbekistan, Syria, south of the border. So we know that some terrorists have crossed that border. We'd be a fool to think zero cross. The thing is, though, we got President Trump as a commander-in-chief who's put all resources on this. That's why President Trump from day one, ICE operations, despite what the left media says, he has been focused on national security threats and public safety threats. And between ICE and the Bureau, we've removed thousands of national security threats because of President Trump's leadership on this.
Yes, that's right. Tom, thank you very much.
President Trump's leadership. Where would we be without it? And of course, what happened in Austin, it was not isolated. Intelligence sources tracking Iranian-linked threats in major cities across the country. Let's go to the Secretary of War on those Iranian sleeper cells being activated in the United States.
Of course, we're paying attention to any potentialities there. This is a former regime, that seeks to export that ideology and try to sow terror. We're ready for that. We've seen these types of folks before, and the American people can rest assured that we're vigilant on that.
We've seen it, and we are ready. The Senegalese terrorist who killed Americans in Austin was wearing an undershirt with the Iranian flag on it, according to Fox News.
Digging deeper into that mass shooting in Austin, Texas, with some brand new information. I had mentioned before, 3 people killed. Fox confirmed the shooter who police killed was a naturalized citizen from Senegal. Sources are now telling Fox the shooter was wearing clothing that said Allah on it, and he had on an undershirt with an Iranian flag on it. The FBI has just announced they are investigating this as a possible act of terrorism. They said maybe, probably, could be. They're investigating it as such now, a possible act of terrorism.
Well, you don't got to tell me. All right? We all know exactly what that was. And now we have this. This is the map, shows FBI Joint Terrorism Task Force, DHS locations of concern as of March of 26. Major cities flagged for Iranian Hezbollah, IRGC-linked sleeper cells, cyber operations, assassination plots, financing networks, and radical activity. This is the map. I'm going to bring it up full screen so you can see it for yourself. Okay? Take a look. I mean, this is where I'm at in Chicago. Focal point. Sanctions evasion in investigating illicit companies moving funds for the IRGC. Minneapolis, site of recent hack and leak operations by cyber actors aiming to influence political discourse. New York City, Brooklyn, Manhattan, primary hub for assassination plots. hub for recent DOJ cases, confronted IRGC directed murder for hire schemes. Boston, Center for Academic Sleepers. New York, Patterson. Washington, D.C., focus on FARA violations. Tampa, critical priority. Miami, target for ghost fleet and financial proxies. Houston, Dallas, high-risk zones for cyber and physical attacks. Austin, extreme alert under highest scrutiny following the March 1st incident with individual tied to IRGC-supported rhetoric, FBI investigating potential cell support. On the West Coast, you have San Jose, Silicon Valley, frequent site of IP and tech theft, major indictment February 20th of this year, targeted sleeper engineers funneling crypto processor data. Los Angeles, Irvine, nation's largest diaspora, FBI monitors for Hezbollah-linked financing and transnational repression, harassment of dissidents. San Diego, monitored for intersection of human smuggling, foreign operative transit, CCP concerns over IRGC-linked entry attempts. So you can see this is the sleeper cell map currently in the United States as of this year. This is based on 2024-2026 indictments, FBI investigations, DHS Homeland Threat Assessments. So this is real-time data that we are presenting to you. You're not going to see this anywhere else. And you'll never guess why the Iranian sleeper cells abandoned their mission here. Ed Zoll.
They discovered Latino women. So I spoke to one of my sources this morning. He was telling me that, look, once upon a time, the Iranian sleeper cell thing was real. Well, they got jobs, they got entered into communities, and then they started losing the radicalism. They started loving our country. They started really loving being an American. But something very specific caught their eye. And according to my friend, one of the greatest factors for why the Iranians decided to depart their mission was they discovered Latino women.
Protect big booty Latinas!
Big booty Latinas.
Big booty Latinas.
The Iranians said, I'd much rather die for that than for
No, not die at all and get me some big booty Latina instead of doing a suicide mission and dying.
Yes.
So they're in Miami.
Yes.
So the Iranian sleeper cells were real. They were here. So they rounded up the radicals, right? That's the part of the story that you need to. They were ended up catching the radicals, but the ones who didn't radicalize, it was because they got some Latina booty.
They got some
and
Latinas.
They're partying it up in Miami.
A beautiful Latino woman who cooked for them, probably had tons of kids.
I would say this is absolutely ridiculous, but your source has never been wrong.
Oh my goodness. Okay, Ed Zoll. I don't know. That's wild. But let me tell you what this really means. We're witnessing the consequences of 4 years of deliberate border destruction by the Biden administration. You saw that federal threat map, identifying sleeper cell concerns in major cities across America, from New York to Los Angeles, Houston to Minneapolis, Austin under extreme alert after that terrorist attack. Tampa, home to CENTCOM, is flagged as critical priority for potential grid sabotage. It wasn't an accident. It's called policy. Joe Biden and the Democrats opened the floodgates of hell, and our enemies walked right through. Now President Trump and his team are working overtime to secure what was deliberately left vulnerable. You see, the deep state does not want you to connect these dots. They want you afraid and ignorant, but not anymore. You see, the truth is absolutely clear. The Iranian threat is not just overseas, it's already here. Okay, it's been here, and it was invited in by the disastrous policies of the former administration. Yeah, you can thank Sleepy Joe for that. But here's the good news. We have a president, finally, who understands what border security and national security really is. President Trump has delivered the most secure border in American history. His team is ready for whatever Iran throws at us. But you and me, we need to remain vigilant. We need to demand Congress to fund DHS, stop playing politics with American lives, So share this video with everybody that you know. Make sure you're on our SMS emergency alert list. Text raw feed to 844-840-4963. Yes, don't wait for algorithms and notifications. Wait for me to send you the message personally. So again, share this video with everybody you know because they need to understand what's really happening. And I want you to drop a comment. I want you to tell me, do you believe the Democrats deliberately weakened our border security? Just drop a yes or no. And if you want to support independent journalism that tells the truth, check out some of the new merch that we've got in the merch shelf right below this video. My friends, we're fighting for you every single day. So subscribe, hit the notification bell, and stay informed and stay free for the next news network. I'm Gary Franchi.
The system controls information. Information control is power. I want you to see this. The truth only survives together. They don't want this shared. Share this now.